Hi guys, welcome back to this channel, Creativity Incorporated. My name is Diana. Thank you for being here in this channel. I wanted to share something I got over the weekend. I got a Sears catalog. I had one, but I didn't want to cut it up. And when I found the other one, I felt it was like, okay, so I can cut this one up. But you guys know I'm such a big collector. Now that I have another one, now it makes it a collection. Oh, but before I move forward, this is my Valentine's Day gift, guys. My daughter, my 6-year-old, comes and she holds with her hand these tabs. She goes, "Mom, would you be my Valentine?" And she opens her little hand, and there's a lot of like soda tab can things. I was in heaven. It's just it's trash, it's meaningless, but there's my daughter doing magic with it. Anyways, so I have an inspiration from another journal that I made. I loved this lock of a screw and bolt, so I wanted to redo it again, but in a smaller format. I have these are wooden coasters. I have like 50 of them, so I have been wanting to make a little journal with it. And then I remembered I have these little bolts and nuts, and so um, I I've decided I'm gonna do the same thing, but in a smaller version and in a wooden form. So I start off by measuring my top, and um, I most likely center it. But anyways, I center it so that one of the flat sides. I don't know if you guys can see. One of the flat sides is parallel to the cover. So for me, it looks more aesthetically pleasing. But at the end of the day, it's your journal. But now there's other ways to do this. I'm doing it the way that um, you guys would do it, like most of the population would do it, which would be with the little cutting blade. Now, it's gonna get dull. I think I went through like two or three of them, but it's patience. You don't even have to go that hard on it. I go hard because I'm like frustrated. I want to get it done quickly. But at the end of the day, you can just, the whole point is to go over and over and over and over again. So, once you do that, then you can cut him from the other side. Once you start seeing the blade cuts from this side, you can go back to the other side and kind of you know give it a clean cut. um, After I was done, I noticed that I it was a little bigger, but I'll show you guys how I fixed it a little later. How a little loose. It wasn't as tight as it was on the on my other book. But anyways, I have an extra set of bolt and screw and set of the covers. If you're interested and you're a patron of mine, give me a comment down below and I will send you the set that I have extra. The first one, of course, because I only have one set. I have more bolts. I mean, yeah, more bolts, but I don't have more nuts. So if I had more nuts, I would give more sets out. But I only have one set that is completed with nuts. Anyway, so what I did is I marked where the hole would be. I measured it, and in order for me to figure it out what it was, you gotta measure it and then double down on your number to figure out the size of your your drill bit. So that's kind of what I did. I'm gonna go a tiny bit smaller because I want to keep it tight. So I'm gonna work my way up. So I'm gonna start little and then go a little size bigger and a little size bigger until it fits. Um, but it's still, I want it to be tight because I don't want the bolt to be loose around. So I want to work my way up. You see how it's kind of smaller, but see, I have this problem. When you drill, you have a problem of the wood splitting on the other end, on the other side, and that's you it can be avoided if you take some precautions. But I think this wood is so thin, and the layers, because it's plywood, so it has a lot of little thin layers, and the outer layer is just so thin. I don't think you can avoid it much. I think you can be careful, but it's not 100% avoidable unless you um you put it another piece of wood on the other side, but you'd have to ruin another piece of wood. Anywho, so now that I have my hole that fits snug, and it works out great, both sides. I can start measuring how much my spine is going to be, because I really don't know how much the spine is until it's kind of pre-assembled. So I pre-assemble it to kind of where I know the nut and the bolt are gonna go. Then I measure the gap in between, and that's kind of how I know what my spine would be. And for my spine, I'm gonna make these S's, like S's, or S shape. Not even S shape. It's like snake shape. I picked up these wire from the trash. It's kind of what they tie the pallets, the heavy pallets with, and but it's really hard, really, really, really hard. This one is, if you have problems in your hand, I do not recommend you using this like very heavy duty. You can use all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure you guys out there, if you're here in this channel, that's because you're into the creative world, and I know you guys can come up with so many great awesome things to use on the spine. But I'm using this because I feel it goes with the aesthetic of the bolt and the nut, and more than anything else, I didn't want string because I felt like it didn't go so well. Anyway, so I'm gonna make I measured it, and I figured that my loops, each loop would take about 1.25 inches of material, and the center part is where it's kind of like the spine part. And so I know that for a fact is a quarter, I mean a 3/4, I mean sorry, it's half an inch, a little bit over half an inch. So what I do here is, see, I measure my 1 inch and a little bit, but do not start bending your wire at the mark. So for example, if the loop is going to be, I think I measured them to be an inch and a half, I'm going to start bending them at 1.25 inches, because the bend takes space. It takes I don't know how to describe it. So account for that loss of space. So I've learned this in the hard way. So you don't want your project to be smaller. I mean, I guess it wouldn't matter, but like for me, I really wanted it to be a little chunkier because it's small, and so it has to be chunky in my head. Anyways, so here I am gonna try to avoid the splitting of the wood. So if you tape it, some wood will not split. This is it's worked before, but plot twist, it doesn't work yet. That good. I mean, it works a little bit, but it still kind of splits a little bit. Ideally, like I said, you'd want to press up 2 other pieces of wood, like that piece of wood that I have there on the side. I could have used it. I mean, I already had drilled a hole on it just to experiment the size, and I should have just used it as my scrap piece of wood, because I do have 50 of them, and I am not gonna do 25 boards. And because I have the big plotter, the big print. I mean, I have a printer that prints on wood, so it's a direct to garment printer. So it prints. See how it splits? It prints on clothing, like we use it to print on shirts and hoodies and notebook covers, but you could also print on wood, anything that's like natural materials like silk. You guys saw me printing. I used it in a video I showed you how I can print on leather. But anyways, I went way off topic. um I'm drilling the holes into what I did is I did 2 centimeters up and 2 centimeters down, and then I split the difference in the middle. You guys will see that it does come up a little bit, and it's kind of like not a big deal. You just gotta sand it, but a little bit of pieces do come off. That my daughter wrote on it, didn't bother me. I feel like it adds to aesthetic, but so I kind of sanded over it, but I did kind of leave it there. I sand it because I want it smooth. I always feel like it has to be super, super smooth. And when you get them, they are nice and smoothish. but you want to sand them anyways. I always sand, even if I think it's clean and smooth. I always sand my wood. And plus, when you paint it, it looks cleaner. It looks less lumpier. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, so I'm opening them a little bit just so that I can get the paper and the wood assembled correctly. Um, Plus, I didn't want them to close them all the way up because I want, you guys know, in every book that I make, I want the flexibility and the ability to change things around, to add, take away, move things. I think to this point, I have not made a book that you can't do that with. For some reason, all of my books, at some one way or another, you can move, replace, or add papers to my journal because um, I am a scattered brain artist, and I've talked about that before. For me, I have to be able to change things because I'm always like, well, what if I change my mind? And if I get stuck on that one feeling of like, oh my gosh, I am not going to be able to change my mind, then I can't move forward. So then I go around it. I know I should be working on my own personal like problems, but I just go around it. Why not, right? And it gives me that inspiration to be more um, creative. Anywho, here you are. You guys see me adding my papers, my covers, my uh, everything. So this is assembling, and it looks cuter than what I thought. Honestly, um, I wasn't expecting it to look as cute as this. And you know, the paper, it was just a scrap piece of paper. I have a bunch of dyed paper and pieces of paper, and so I just cut them up in different sizes just so that it goes inside. Now you guys see the hole. I mean the I have to cut them shorter than the actual width of the book because of the bolt. But in reality, I feel like if you want, you can make the paper even a little longer so it comes out of the book, but make a hole in the middle so that the screw would go through the hole of the journal. And I think I want to do one of those later. But if you do one, let me know. I would love to see you guys' books. You guys share them with me. I have a Facebook page, you know, if you guys want to follow me there. I have an Instagram page, um, which I'm planning to be a little bit more active in. um I have, and that's why I let you guys know when the videos come out. And you know, if I do, I am planning on doing giveaways there at those at my Facebook and Instagram pages. And you guys are definitely welcome to follow me there. And also I put up gonna put like some freebies there, here and there, through the Instagram and Facebook pages. Anyways, this is how I'm gonna fix that, the fact that the hole is a little bigger than the actual nut. So when this fabric is a little, it's like a little, it's not a little elastic. Okay, it feels like leather, so it's not 100% paper and it's not 100% leather, but it kind of works like it. So it's a little bit stretchy, if you know what I mean. So I'm cutting it. When I cut the shape out, I cut it a little less. And by less, it's not like the actual whole size of the a nut. I cut it a little less so that I have a little extra material in the hole, if you guys know what I mean. Um, so that when I put my nut, it has a little bit of like hold, like grab onto something. Anyways, this is the way I transfer images to to cutting areas. I don't sit there and measure and trace and stuff like that. I feel like it gives me a lot of room for error. So what I do is I'll cut one side, and do one side, do the other side, and then just measure the other side. Oh, I should have done that long time ago. If you guys would have heard me when I did this, took the page cover off, I was like, dude, I did this a long time ago. In the beginning. Anyway, so again, I left a little bit of margin of the paper or the material so that when I push in my nut, it fits a little bit snug. It's it does hold it really, really, really good. And so on my other book, I think I did that as well, but it already had fit a little snug on that big book. But then it was good that it happened that way, because that big book had the nut was so heavy, like really heavy. I'm like, it's not gonna work out, it's gonna like be lopsided, it's gonna be um weird looking. But no, it actually worked out really good. I also did a little bit of um framing. You know how I'm doing here with the little piece of cloth on the bolt? I'm in my head, to me, I'm framing the bolt so that it stands out more than just a hole on the piece of wood. So I have, what I'm doing here is I'm retucking. When I push it through, it comes out, the extra material comes out. So I'm retucking it in so that it holds it in. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I put a lot of silicone glue around the inside of the what's it called, the wood, I mean the nut. So as inspiration from my other book, I'm going to paint the inside green. I wanted to also incorporate that color here, and I figured I painted the inside covers green. I didn't want to cover it because for me, wood is something that shouldn't really be covered. I know, a little crazy. I'm a carpenter. That's one of my associates in college. I studied art, but the emphasis study on my um art degree is wood. So I love carpentry, and for me, wood is something that I I have to see. Like if I go to Home Depot, you guys see me, like, you know, the itch and scratch, and you guys scratch the wood, and every wood type has a different smell. And so for me, I have to like scratch like the wood and like smell it. I know, creepy, funny, and not that many people do it, but you know, those that are in for carpentry for the love of the wood or the appreciation of the wood, I think a lot of would understand why I do that. I don't know. Anyways, enough of the crazy talk. Um, After I painted it, I sanded back down a little bit, just so I can still see the grooves of the paint, and also because I don't want to see any paint paintbrush strokes. I want this to look more like a stain, like a green stain, and so, and a roughed up one. You know, I also didn't want it to be clean. So what I'm doing, I just roughed it up in my mind and also took away this brush stroke. I'm going to do the vintage thing, and I'm going to do the thingamajigger with the brush and the dabbing of the color and the thingamajigger. um, it's just for me. I'm just gonna distress a little bit. I really don't distress all of the pages, just like the covers. And I don't know. Would you guys distress all the book, all the pages? I feel like I don't know. I don't know how I feel, but I've seen it done good, and I've seen it done not so good. So, you know, for me, aesthetically pleasing, cleaning less, or um, it gives you the opportunity to go to each page, and it's like a clean inspiration. And I feel like each page should have its own um, identity. And so I feel like if I um, distress all the corners of all the page, it might end up looking uniform. And no, I don't want to. I'm not into that. And so I'm also grabbing all the little pieces that I this is part of the Oilers printables that I did for, I think it's for the month of December. I'm like losing count, but yeah, not that I've done so many, but in the Patreon's page, this is, if you're a patron, this is available for you to download. It's a page of all of my collections of, I mean, all my Oilers. I have a large collection of Oilers, and I set up my studio, and I took pictures of them, and these are my Oilers, my personal Oilers, and they, I made a page of all of them in a smaller, like sort of like a sticker size, and using all of those to put in this journal. My idea originally, because we are in February, was to do a like a gift for my son or for my husband. So this is kind of like I have I had it kind of in mind that I was gonna give it to them, but then I changed my mind because um I don't want to give it to nobody. uh it's just um my husband's an artist. He's not into oilers. Although, I'll tell you this much. He was the one that first came home with oilers. So he came home with I think he had bought a lot of oilers, and there were like 6 of them. And I was like, this is love. This is heaven. These are for me. And, I just fell in love with oilers, and I've been collecting them since then. And this is how it came out. So I used that Tim Holtz like splatters, and I splattered a few of them here and there. I glued some of my oilers here and there and stamped it. I wanted to look up for more quotes of oils, like "You're so refined." It's from the Little Rascals. When he argues with the other guy, he's like, "That explains why you're so refined." Yeah, and so oily. That's where I got that quote. Nah, you're so refined. Um, Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, guys, stay safe. Love you guys. Bye.